how did you get started?
On social media?
Yeah.
As with most people, actually, lockdown, TikTok became huge. Jeremy Clarkson was writing an article in The Sun about TikTok back in sort of 2021. And he said, one of my favourite contributors is a woman called Clara Batten. And I went, it's the Prime Minister's house. And he went, what? We showed our passports, they buggered off, came back, and they said the housekeeper's coming down to get you. I'm sure there were some funny stories back in my 20s. There was a funny story about when...
Hello and welcome to the third in our series of podcasts, The No Filter Zone. My name is Deborah Aharoni and I'm going to be your host for today. So today we're going to go on an extraordinary journey with our special guest. From a spontaneous TikTok dance during lockdown, to scaling the dizzy heights of social media stardom, to starring in a Sky original film and writing a TV sitcom, I'm both delighted and excited to present our special guest, Clara Batten. So, I suppose first things first, how did you get started?
On social media?
Yeah.
As with most people, actually, lockdown, I think TikTok became huge. They reached sort of 16 billion users or something ridiculous within a couple of months of hitting the pandemic.
Wow.
And to be honest, it was, I hate saying this because I'd like to sort of say it was all me.
Okay.
But my husband made me do it, really.
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so basically what happened was he was looking at, there was this blinding lights dance challenge, not really a challenge.
Okay.
People were just, all the NHS staff were doing it in their breaks. And it was a sort of real feel good dance. And I kept saying, why do I keep hearing you playing that song? And he just showed it to me. And I was like, oh, that's funny. I was like, and then he goes, you could do that. I went, yeah, of course I could. I thought it was going to be really easy. It's the hardest thing to do. And then
why is it so hard?
It's just the movement of swinging your arms up in one direction,
Okay.
crossing a leg over in the other direction. And I don't want to say I trained as a dancer, but I did like 8 grades of ballet, modern, jazz. And I thought that because I'd done that, I was going to nail it, but I didn't. I didn't nail anything, and it took me ages. And then eventually I did it. And it's my very first TikTok on my page, but because he posted it, because he had set up an account just to watch these videos.
Okay.
So he posted it on his account. I went, I might set up an account and post it to mine. He said, you should do like some of your comedy stuff and, do some acting stuff, try and get back into it. And I was like, I don't think it's like that, is it? And I didn't get it. I thought you could only literally use other people's sounds at the start and lip sync, because that's all I was seeing people do. So, but then obviously the sound has to be there in the first place. So someone would have had to do the original thing to actually get it. So so I was just doing lip syncs at the start, and I thought, this is fun. And then suddenly I had 500 followers. Then about 5 weeks in, I hit 1,000. I was like, this is quite fun. And then I just went from there, really.
Incredible. And so I was going to ask, what were you doing before that?
Mum.
Mum.
Yeah.
Right. So how old are the kids now? You've got Monty and Cressy, haven't you?
Yeah. So Monty's 5 and Cressy has just turned 7.
Okay. She seems like a real character.
Yeah, she's hilarious.
She's following in Mum's footsteps.
She is. She's been doing TikToks with me since she was 3, and purely because it's not something that I sort of like, hey, will you just come and do this with me when you're 3 years old. She would watch me do these videos during lockdown. She'd be like, can I do one of those with you, mummy? And so I started, but then I didn't want to just do like some lame, yes, darling, do a little dance for the camera, So I just wanted to do videos where she could be in the comedy sketches and take the piss out of me, react to me, so that it was proper. And you can tell that I didn't sort of push her into it, because Monty has zero interest In fact, when I had to do an advert for Sky Cinema for social media, they said, and if you can get the whole family involved, that'd be great. And it was just like a silly dance we were doing to one of the basically the title music to a film that a family film they're doing. And I said, Monty, it's great, you can be in this as well. And then he went, yeah, no thanks. And that was it. So even the village play that we do, the village Christmas play every year, is just like a thing. And Cressy joined last year, and she got quite a big part in this year. And the director said, "Oh, can Monty? We need a boy just to walk on at the beginning and walk back off, no lines. Can your son do it?" And I said, "I've just asked him." He said, "No, thanks, I don't want to do that." He said, "I don't like acting like you and Cressy." He said, "I like football. That's my thing."
He knows what he likes at a very young age.
And then he went on to say, "And if I get really good, I'll earn £500,000. I was like, where the hell did you hear that?
I mean, he could be a very good businessman. I'm sensing.
So that's interesting. But yeah, Cressy's a massive character and she loves it. And she got an agent for it as well, which
Really?
Yeah. So it really is like how I started it as well. But yeah, she absolutely loves it. She just got down to the final 10 of Bridget Jones 4.
I'm sorry, there's a Bridget Jones 4? What?
Yeah, I know.
No one told me.
I don't think it's been announced yet. So no, if you Google it, you'll see it. But it's to play Renee Zellweger's daughter, but she didn't get it, unfortunately. But she did 5 rounds.
But even to go through that whole process, she's got to be you've got to be quite tough. Obviously, you would know that as an actress. Yeah. So were you an actress before all the TikTok stuff, the social media stuff?
Back in the day. So I had an agent straight after school. I had an agent when I was a child for a couple of years, but did a couple of bits. And then stopped that to focus on school. And then when I finished school, went to London, got an agent and gave it a good bash for a few years. And then my agent retired, and then and I was doing so well at my day job, which was sales and marketing.
Okay.
That, I say sales and marketing, selling advertising space.
Okay.
Cold calling.
My mum used to do that, yeah.
It's really good,
It's a real skill.
And you know what? The way I found it was in the Stage magazine, and it's a really good business model, actually, to look for actors to do cold calling, and selling, because basically they can sell themselves. Yeah. So they can sell other stuff. They can take rejection well. So if they get some rude person going, "No, sod off, I don't want to speak to you," then they'll just go, "Yeah, on to the next, whatever," because that's what you get in auditions.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
So it was that. So I was doing really well at it. So when my agent retired, I was like, I'm getting an episode here, an episode there, but I'm not getting enough to sort of keep me going as my actual job where I'm earning a living from it. So I just wasn't in a massive rush to go out there hunting for a new agent. And I thought, do I just call it a day? But it's always been my number one passion. And so weirdly, at the age of 40 during lockdown, that's how I got back into it. A film director was following me, and he just got in touch with me and said, "So, we just wondering if you've got an agent at all." He said, "Before you get excited, I'm not about to offer to be your agent." No. He said, "I'm a film director." I was like, "Just as good, whatever." I mean, sounds good. And he said, "I think you're a really good comedic actress, and I've got a couple of things coming up I'd like you to audition for." So I auditioned for this Christmas movie that he was doing, and there were only a few parts left. And he said, "Look, we all really enjoy." I didn't have an agent, so it was all I was chatting to him
face
direct.
To face, yeah.
And but he's in LA, but he's English, but he lives in LA.
Okay.
And so I was on these Zoom calls, and he said, "Look, we really loved your audition, but you're too old." No, that sounds really bad. That sounds really bad. I was auditioning for basically a girl in her early 20s, an intern.
Right.
But because he didn't know what I could play, because he was like, "There's only a couple of parts left because we're filming next month.
You're like, could I play her mum?
Yeah,
maybe?
I know. Can you just add in another character?
Auntie.
42-year-old?
Yeah.
That'd be great. But he didn't know, but they did the next best thing. They changed one of the characters from a male to a female and then gave me that part. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So it went from Gary to Michaela. And
it's an obvious
yes.
switch, right?
Yes. Exactly. It should have been Gary to
Gail?
Gail.
Gail
Could have been it.
But Michaela, there's nothing wrong with
Yeah,
that. And did you have to go
Michaela.
out to LA or was it
No,
filmed
it
in
was
the UK?
filmed. It was filmed in London. I think there were a couple of other. Yeah, there were a couple of America, New York,
Okay.
but not for my part. So it was filmed in. So it's called A Christmas Number One, and I was the sound engineer for the bands who were recording in the studio. So I was, so I was in there basically, in London. But yeah, so that was amazing, and he's become a really good friend of mine now, and he's always putting me forward for stuff, and I've done 2 adverts with him, and yeah, so it's been great. In fact, I don't think I think I'd be completely out of work if it wasn't for him.
Bless. I'm sure you wouldn't. How was it being back in
That's
acting
Chris
after
Cotton,
so long?
by the way. He's just got to throw his name in there.
Quick name drop.
Yeah.
How was it getting back into acting after how long off?
20 years.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I can't be more grateful and thankful, mainly to him, really. But yeah, because it's always been my complete passion. And what's been great about TikTok and social media is that I've been able to fulfill that sort of love and passion for it through. And now, of course, now that some platforms, not really Instagram, but TikTok, you can actually earn money from views now, and from how well a video does with engagement and forwards and stuff like that. So they reward you, and you can monetize from just not doing the brand deals.
Yeah.
Just literally just posting. Because it is annoying having to always do brand deals because people hate it. Number one, I mean, I like it because I only work with brands I like.
Yes.
And
nice jumper brands.
Yes, nice jumper brands.
Lovely jumper brands.
Yeah. I absolutely love them. Seriously, though, but now they're just like, gosh, you're really obsessed with us. We'll send you some more stuff. Because I'm like, I am obsessed with you. And but no, it's it's I just did one for a wine company yesterday.
Oh wow. I mean, living the dream.
I know, for some reason a lot of wine companies get in touch with me. I don't understand it. Still waiting for Aperol.
Right. I'm still waiting for chocolate.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I should probably try and get more onto that. It's probably healthier than
any dark chocolate brands. Hello.
Oh, dark chocolate.
Oh, I love the stuff. I'm obsessed. It's like a religious experience for me, honestly.
Oh, no, not dark.
Are you not? Are you milk?
Yeah, milk,
right.
Not white.
Oh, God, what is white?
Oh, I don't understand it. But
some people
dark.
love it.
I know some people really, I don't even think it tastes like chocolate.
No, me neither.
But dark is okay if it's like, tell you what I like, green and black's dark with salted caramel bits.
Okay, even you saying that, I'm dribbling.
I know, I'm at my mouth's watering.
Oh my God.
Sod it, let's not talk about my career. Let's talk about chocolate.
No, let's get back to you. Okay, so 20-year acting break.
Yeah, and yeah, so TikTok and social media is fulfilling my day-to-day want to do acting, because so much of it is, when I'm doing the proper sketches, not just, even when I'm doing the reacting videos, actually I'm playing a different alter ego, really, which is cringeworthy. And but yeah, so that's fulfilling my day-to-day sort of, and getting paid for it. And that's all I've ever wanted to do is sort of act and earn a living from it.
And people appreciate it.
Yeah. And actually what's weird is I've probably become better known doing that than if I was to just do like an episode here and there. What I mean is better known for acting and actually getting, I've had another film director get in contact. She said, I've been following you for years and I really want you to be in this TV program. And that's just getting the funding at the moment. But again, you know, I'm attached to that. So that will be brilliant if that comes off. But yeah, it's a 20-year break. Sorry, you're going to say something else.
No, I was going to say, how do you get into the whole creative process of deciding what you're going to film when you put it on social media?
Yeah, it's weird. A lot of the times, because so you'll see or see and hear a sound. So you'll see someone else do something where they've lip synced something, or they've done a trend which is quite funny, and so often I get inspiration from that, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to do my own take on that, and then I just use that sound and then change it slightly or adapt it to my situation or my family life or my scenario. And then other than that, excuse me, I'll do some observational comedies. So just take the piss out of everyday life or family life, or just do, you know, a bit of sort of self-deprecating stuff. Or a lot of it's observational. So, you know, even things like going to the drive-through McDonald's, or, you know, just things like that. Yeah. And then, so it will be either something that I've just noticed in everyday life and I'll just quickly jot it down on my phone and be like, I'll do a sketch out of that. Or most recently, in the last few months, I've been doing a lot of reaction videos to, you've probably seen the cooking ones and the men.
Would it be the man or the cooking?
I know, men or cooking. Yeah. I always say, when people go, so what's your social media? I'm like, shit food, hot guys. That's basically, shit food, hot guys, kids. Yeah. Not in that order necessarily. Actually, probably in that order.
Oh my God, the one that you did that I just couldn't stop laughing was when you were lip syncing to, I think it was an Australian woman.
Yeah.
Talking about, can your partner fix the dripping tap? No, I'm not a plumber.
Yes.
That really cheered me up.
Yeah, I'm not a plumber. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think she's Kiwi. Oh, yeah. That was that original video of, I can't remember where it's from, but that was really viral.
Was it?
And quite a few people lip sync that. But yeah, it's, I'm not a baker.
Yeah, I'm not a baker.
Yeah. What do you do? Bake him a cake?
Yeah.
We'll see with it.
Not a baker.
Yeah, it's genius.
Absolutely.
Not genius on my part. I just lip synced it, but brilliant. It was, the original's great.
But some of the ones I find the funniest of yours are when you've literally seen something written down that's really filthy, but a really silly sense of humour, because that's about the level of my humour. So just watching you laugh, like, I'm in tears. So I'm like, I'm so glad I'm not the only person with a really infantile sense of humour.
Yeah, oh God, definitely. And I just get something I'll just stick on something and I just can't get past it. And that a lot of people say that, they're like, oh my God, your laugh's contagious. Sometimes I don't even know what you're laughing at. And I'm just giggling with you. But that's good, isn't it? Because laughter is the best medicine.
Amen to that.
It's literally, like you said just before we came on, and you said, you know, it's shit week, and then you watch a couple of videos. I'm the same. I'll just go onto my favourite channels and just watch some comedy, and if I'm belly laughing, it's just the serotonin. Is it serotonin?
Yes, serotonin.
That just it blows everything out the water. You just think, life's not that bad. I
think for me, I'm not massive on social media, and I tend to mainly follow cats. Lots of cat videos. So actually,
I follow a lot of dogs.
Oh, well, seeing a funny human is a bit of a departure for me. So I was like, there are funny humans on Instagram as well. This is new. So
are the cats funny?
Yeah, well, they're either funny or cute. Or
you've got to look at Layla the boxer. What, seriously? The owner of that dog is genius in her videos.
Okay,
she creates the most spectacular, film-like videos of as if he's actually acting with. You've got to as if Layla. Yeah, could be. I always look at the dog though and think it's a male. But anyway, yeah, but
okay.
it's follow them.
Okay.
They're great.
Okay.
But I pissed myself laughing with them.
It's great. Now I've realised there's funny people on the
Now
internet.
the algorithm will send you more funny people.
Excellent.
Yeah.
How clever.
I've spent the last 2 days watching your videos. Now all you're going to see is either my videos or like,
where are all my cats?
You're like, okay, look, I've had enough of Clara. Just show me a goddamn cat.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And where did the writing come from?
So I started writing with Philly, my very good friend and co-writer, years ago, probably about 15 years ago. She was writing a blog on this fictional character, and I said, mate, this is bloody brilliant. We should change this into an actual TV show. So we started writing it in the pub back when we were mid-20s, late 20s. And every time we met up, we would just write some more of the next episode. And anyway, then basically then we both had kids. Her kids are the same age as mine. So she's got Isla and then Milo, who are both Cressy and Monty's age. And she got married, and then life took over, and then lockdown hit, and then I started doing this. And then she said, "Mate, you remember that thing that we were writing?" She said, "You're getting, a lot more traction and media exposure, and your sketches being shown on TV, and you're getting interviewed." Because I'd just done a You magazine interview, and she said, she went, "Right, mate, we're going to get back to this because you can use some contacts with this, or, now you're going to get more people that you meet within the industry and we should get it off the ground." So I was like, yeah, actually, you're right. So then during lockdown, we started doing Zoom calls and we reread it and the pilot episode, and we're like, geez, yeah, we've definitely grown up a bit since then. And so we did have to change. And it's funny because you'd think late 20s, you think
it's like
you're
a child
probably,
to me.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
But back then, you are a proper adult, aren't you? You're not young. And well, you are, but you're not, late 20s, you should be, if you're writing, you don't think that you're going to be changing it 15 years on. But yeah, we went through it with a fine-tooth comb, made it funnier, better, slicker, and then we were very happy with it after about 18 rewrites. and then we took it, and then we just had an in with a couple of production companies, and we had a meeting with Rough Cut, who behind The Office and some big sitcoms. Yeah, which went really well. But unfortunately, a lot of channels aren't commissioning full stop, but aren't commissioning comedy. He said to us, how much have you actually seen come out that's new comedy-wise? And I was like, actually, that's so
why
true.
There's a gap in the market for it.
And I said, that's what's pissing us off. That's why we want some comedy on TV.
And people need
he
a
said,
laugh.
oh, we want it on TV. It's the channels that are being... But we're getting there, but I think we need to attach... We've had such good feedback. I mean, literally, everyone in the industry who's read it has genuinely not had a bad, or even some, what's the word when you give?
Like constructive criticism.
Constructive criticism. We haven't even had much of that. It's just been like, this is it. The director read it. He said, I laughed out loud, which is very rare for me, and all that sort of stuff. So, so we're on the right track. I think we're going to need to attach a prominent actor, and that's not me. Although I will be playing the main bloke in it.
Hang on a minute, pardon?
I know.
What?
I know. It was weird because I was basically every time we wrote another scene, Finney is a brilliant writer. I'm a writer, but also a performer. So every time we wrote another scene, I would read it. We'd read through it, but I would read the characters.
Perfect.
Yeah. And then Jeremy, the main guy, when I would read him, Philly would be in hysterics and she'd be like, mate, I can't have anyone else, because she came up with the character originally. She went, I can't have anyone else play this character but you. And I was like, what?
Like, you know he's called Jonathan.
Yeah, Jeremy.
Jeremy. Jeremy. I got the first letter right.
Yeah.
Oh.
And she said, no, seriously, mate, you know, she's like, what's that Australian or Kiwi person, Kate Blanchett? She said, you know how Kate Blanchett played Bob Dylan? And I said, actually, yeah. She said, seriously, like, bit of prosthetics. You've already got his voice down to a T, because I changed my voice from, although I've got quite a low voice anyway, but I change it to how we envisage him.
Can you illustrate that? Or would you have to kill me first?
No, it's just sort of, so basically, if, I'm just going to go out to, he's really sort of awkward. He's posh, Jeremy Snorbert Chow. But he's very, I didn't quite know. But yeah, he's probably the produce of, you know, two cousins getting married.
Oh, right, okay. Bit of interbreeding.
Yeah, there's definitely some interbreeding going on. He's the produce of interbreeding. No, yeah,
wow.
He's a great character. But Philly, so Philly said, look, you've got to play him. Anyway, when we've told people this, they've loved it.
Yeah.
They've been like,
it's really different.
This is great. Yeah. They've even said, I don't even think you need prosthetics, so long as you have your hair cut and, you know. And I was like, well, obviously nowadays with all the, you know, anything goes, people actually quite like that sort of different, and particularly as, you know, the character is a posh male trope, you know, and it would be easy to disregard him, but to give a female actor the possibility to play, so, you know, it's a bit different. But yeah, we're trying to, Simon Pegg's currently got the script, but he has.
Wow.
I keep going, by the way, it only takes 20 minutes to read. He's like, I'm sorry, Clara, I'm getting onto it. Don't worry about it.
I'm sorry, but even the fact that you're messaging him is amazing.
Yes.
Whatever he says.
Yeah, no, he was brilliant, because he gave me a he gave me a quote on the cover of my book. So we sort of been in touch, and when I said I screenshot the feedback we'd had of the script from Tiger Aspect and Rough Cut and the director, and he said, bloody hell, that is amazing feedback. He said, I'd definitely read it. But at the time he went, I just can't do any, it's going to be hard to film anything at the moment, because I'm on hold with Paramount for Mission Impossible 7, 8, whatever it is.
You just put that in quotes and stick it on the fridge.
I'm on hold with Paramount for Mission Impossible. I was like, really? Are you sure you don't want to do this pilot?
Yeah. Just can't use can.
I was like, seriously, I'll need you for 2 days. He was like, look, I'll read it, and if I can, then let's see what. So yeah, I think basically, yeah, we need to attach a prominent person to get the channels going. Oh yeah, maybe we would. Do you know what I mean? It's I don't think. Well, what Rough Cut said, they said, unfortunately, a great script isn't good enough anymore. Just that. Yeah.
That's so sad. And there just should be more comedy on TV.
I know.
Everybody needs it.
And it's just reruns of everything.
Yeah.
Of all the greats, you know, Only Fools and Horses, all the sketch shows, Smack the Pony, Fast Show. Where are all those?
The In-Betweeners.
The In-Betweeners.
Yeah, that's the level of my humour.
I love the In-Betweeners.
This reminds me of growing up with my brother, really.
I do love the In-Betweeners. That was
very soft spot for that.
Yeah.
But you mentioned your book. So when did you start? When did you get the idea for that?
I didn't.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
HarperCollins approached me about it, and here's basically what happened was Jeremy Clarkson was writing an article in The Sun about TikTok back in sort of 2021. And he said, you know, one of my favorite contributors is a woman called Clara Batten. And then Ollie at HarperCollins was having a meeting with Jeremy Clarkson the next week.
No.
So was doing some research on his latest articles, saw the last week's article, saw my name, started following me on TikTok. And then one night I was live on TikTok and he said, "Hi, Clara, my name's Ollie. I'm from HarperCollins. How do I get in touch with you?" And I was like, yeah, it was Friday night, bit pissed. It's like
Yeah, really?
third lockdown. I went,
God.
yeah, of course you are. Just DM me on Instagram.
Slide into my DMs.
Yeah. And he did, but I missed it.
No.
Yeah, for about 2 weeks. And I was like, better go back just to check, because that's how I got the You Magazine interview, you know, because I didn't have an agent. It was all just DMs.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I looked back for and saw this message from Ollie saying, "Hi, I'm that random guy on your live who, you know." Anyway, he said, "You know, you can Google me for credentials, but I'd like to have a chat with you." So anyway, I Googled him and I found out he's head of non-fiction at HarperCollins, like the biggest, like,
Oh my God.
yeah. So then we had a meeting on a Zoom call and he said, "So I was just wondering if you've ever thought about writing." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm writing a sitcom at the moment." And he went, "No, I'm from HarperCollins, so like books." And I went, "Oh God, no, that couldn't interest me less."
No, you didn't.
I did, because it has never interested me. And it genuinely scares me to even think about writing 80,000 words about, so I'm not even I don't even consider myself a good writer in that respect. You know, at English at school, I was all right. I wasn't one of those people where you go, "Oh God, she's a literary genius.
She's the next Shakespeare."
Yeah, I just think she needs to write. She's pretty, I was just sort of middle of the class, so I was like, "Oh," and I went, "No, it doesn't interest me." And then he went, I said, "What are you even thinking that, I mean, what?"
Yeah, what about?
A book.
A book about what?
Yeah. I said, "What would you even think that I would write about?" Or, I mean, you obviously like my stuff because of the comedy, but they're sketches. So what, a book sketch? Like what? And he said, "No, I just think that," I said, "Look, before you say it, I'm not writing a book about motherhood." And
You didn't.
I did. I said,
Oh, the irony.
I said, they've been done to death. The times I see another one come out, I'm like, "Oh God, not another one of these bloody mum books." And I said, "So what do you think?" He said, "No, I agree with you. They've been done a lot. Or every mumfluencer has brought one out." And He said, "So no, down a slightly different." Yeah, I hate mum books. And I don't want to be that mum who's like, "Oh God, it's so tough, like being a mum. I just have a drink at the end of the day."
Yeah, get me another glass of something.
Yeah. So, which is why I called it Gin and Phonics.
I was going to ask you about the title, actually. I get the gin bit.
Yeah.
But why phonics?
So phonics, it's my hatred of phonics. So there's a whole chapter. In fact, I dot it throughout the book about phonics, but I do a 180 on after doing my research on it. I do a 180 on my thought process behind it. Plus, it just rhymes really conveniently with gin and tonic.
I mean, it's fabulous.
So,
yeah, sounds great.
But yeah, I didn't actually make it a motherhood book. Basically, he said, "Why don't you?" He said, "Well, what I'm thinking is like, if you write a diary, right, that would be I started saying, and so would I have a ghostwriter?" I genuinely said that on the phone.
Oh, please tell me what his face was.
And he went, "No." He went, "The whole point is that your followers like you because you're comedic and they find you funny. So there won't be, you're not writing your memoirs." And I was like, "Oh, maybe I should write my memoirs and you give me a ghostwriter." Oh gosh. Now looking back on it was horrific. But anyway, yeah, he said, "Look, if you write it as a diary, I said, this is interesting, actually, because I'm always compared to Bridget Jones. So then I was like, a real life Bridget Jones diary, but with actual having got married, having
having the
kids,
kids.
and life. So started as a diary of 2021.
Wow.
And I didn't want it to be a mum book, rather basically talk about the fact that we were coming out of lockdown. I was on social media. I decided to give it another shot at acting and to show progression over the course of a year, and basically say that motherhood's a comma, not a full stop, and that you can still pursue what you want to. And actually, after having kids, you're probably the most confident and realize your own ability more than ever. So just go back to your passion and what you want to do and just sod it and go for it. And luckily, I did show some progression in 2021. Otherwise, it would have been a really crap book. I started off going, and hopefully I'll show some progression in my private life and my professional life. And then I was like, shit, if I don't show any progression, but then
it would have still been funny.
Yeah. But then, it's so it's the progression of that, because then a couple of months in, I get the You magazine interview. Then Chris gets in touch about the film. Then I do the film. Then an agent gets in touch, and then I get the agent.
Career progression, kind of like that.
It was brilliant. 2021 still is in my head like one of the best years. It was great. And then it ends with being invited to the Prime Minister's house for
Oh my
dinner.
God, tell me everything, because I've read some stuff when I was looking you up, but I think it should come from you. So how did that happen?
So Carrie Johnson was following me. Boris isn't really on social media.
Okay.
But she was following me, and then I went through a sort of stage of a bit of anxiety in 2021.
Okay.
It's probably the fact that I was trying to write a book in the middle of the school summer holidays and keep up content and do the paid adverts that I needed to do and look after the two kids.
And a husband.
Were off, and a husband.
Yeah.
Who were off for 9 weeks in the summer. And then I had a deadline for sort of September as soon as they went back to school, which is when I really needed to write. So I was just feeling like everything was getting a bit on top of me, and I just stopped and I took a break from everything for 2 weeks, and I just went, I've got to, because I was getting very panicky about stuff.
Yeah.
And I did a video and I just couldn't get the words out. I was just kept crying like on this video saying I need to take a break. I'm just not feeling myself, and all this sort of stuff. And Carrie was one of the first people to I'm getting emotional now. It's like Carrie was one of the first people to reach out, and she said, "Hi Clara, I just want to let you know that it's always fine to take a break. It's always fine to the fact is you're realizing when it's got too much." And she said, take a break. And she told me about this book called How to Break Up with Your Phone. And she said, I read this book because I started realizing that I was getting like really, when I was on social media, I was like doubting myself because of what I was looking at. And she said, look, I really recommend it if you also want to just be like, look, actually, I need a break. Read that, and then it won't make you feel so sort of anxious about taking that break. And so, and then she said, but on a separate note, I just want to, you've brought so much joy to everyone over the last couple of years, and just want to say thank you. And Boris never goes on Instagram apart from to watch your videos with me. And so she was like, and then she goes, so, thank you, and don't worry, and take a break, and da. And then she said, and we hope to meet you one day. And then that was that. And then I missed that as well because I got so many DMs.
Oh, which is
from that video, because everyone was reaching out. And I had, don't know if you know her, Dr. Julie, who's massive on social media.
Is she a cat?
No, you're like Dr. Julie should
Great
be
name
a
for a
cat.
cat.
That's brilliant.
I'm terrible, honestly.
I love it.
Okay,
No,
so Dr. Julie.
she's huge. She's a psychologist and she
Okay.
does social media, brilliant videos.
Okay.
And, she's even got 1 million YouTube subscribers now, and she's got some millions on TikTok and Instagram. And she's written 2 books. And she reached out and said, Clara, I'd love to chat to you for free, if you need any. I had about 5 psychotherapists reach out and say, if you need anything, I'm free of charge, happy to give you a session, blah, blah, blah. So I did with this lady, Sonia Grimes, who is amazing. And I only had 1 session, and the tools she gave me, I was just like, so much better. But also I had anti-anxiety pills, which were prescribed, and all of these things.
We've all been there.
Yeah. Along with, they're brilliant though.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah, amazing.
I might up my dose.
Yeah. It's good for things like this, actually, or presentations, or even if you just take like one just for the physical, of any, or like reading in church for, a christening or something. I took one before singing at my godson's christening.
Well, that was brave to start with the singing.
Yeah.
Wow. I think you've just got to find what works for you.
Yeah.
But it's just incredibly brave of you that you went public.
Yeah, I thought it was important. I didn't post it for a day. I did it. I remember I was on the way to watch the England rugby at the pub up the road. And I really wanted to let people know that I was just taking a break. And so I didn't feel like, the hardcore fans might be, because some of them.
Where's she gone?
I've literally done like 2 days off before, and they've gone like, you okay? Because I just, I always check in to see your post for the day. And it's very unlike, this is when I used to post like every day. And so I just thought, if I'm going to take 2 weeks, I just want to sort of let people know, and then it will just give me that sort of like, so if people do check in, the last post is going to take a break. So, but yeah, I did this and I just couldn't get the words out, and I kept breaking down. And then stopping it, and it's still up, and people still comment on it now, and I'm always like, do I just take that down now? I'm like, no, because it's really important for people to see that even if you're always, creating comedy, making people laugh and saying happy-go-lucky. And
I was going to say, even if you're a comedian,
yes, doesn't mean... In fact, most of the time it is the comedians who... So,
just because you look like you're having a laugh all the time, people don't know what that's masking. They don't know how you're really feeling. So I think you probably became even more relatable.
Yeah, hopefully. I thought it was really important, but it's, I don't get much out on the video, but I did it. And then... I just remember, luckily I'm not feeling like that anymore, but I just remember I just was not myself. I just couldn't, nothing I was saying could make me feel, I wasn't depressed. This is the thing. I would just get panicky. And then when I tried to articulate it, I'd just break down into it. And it was so weird.
Really emotional as well.
Yeah, it was such a weird time. It just felt like everything was on top of me.
At once.
So I made this video, and then I just kept looking back at it going, do I post that? Because I'm not getting it out there. And I kept pausing it and stopping and trying to get myself together and then doing it again. And then I just thought, sod it. I don't have to be saying it in a, guys, I'm not feeling myself. If I am breaking out, I'm probably not going to get through it again. So I may as well. So it was about a day or two later, I just went, I'm going to post it. And I wrote on the caption, I filmed this yesterday. I wasn't going to post it, but I think it's really important because it might help other people who need to talk or So I did. And it was the best thing I did because everyone was just brilliant, and everyone related. So many people related, and so many people said, oh God, I've been feeling like this recently. And I think it's been, the last couple of years with the pandemic. And I think a lot of people are feeling like that. Yeah. So it was, I'm really pleased I did it. But yeah, Carrie was one of the first people to reach out, and psychologist, amazing. Just such a great response. And then, I was on holiday we booked a last minute trip to Egypt in August. That was 2022. And I'd received the message that said, I really hope we get to meet you one day. I was an all-inclusive, 4 margaritas down. I was like texting Matt, well, we're back on the 18th. Shoot. Yeah, brilliant. Really good.
And what happened?
And I didn't hear from her for a couple of weeks.
Oh.
I was like, oh, right. No, and then
like I was only joking.
And then she just went, hey, bit late notice, but do you and your husband fancy coming for dinner at Checkers? And what was funny is I genuinely, I didn't even put 2 and 2 together because it was at his end of his term. So he was leaving in like 5 days. So I wasn't even thinking. She just said, do you want to come for dinner at Checkers? I went into my husband's office. I said, Carrie has asked if we want to go for dinner at Checkers. I went, what Checkers would that be? And I went, where does she live? And I was like, where do they live again? And then he went, seriously? And I went, what? And I went, oh shit, that Checkers.
That Checkers.
And he went, yeah. And
but did you think it was a wind up?
What happened was then Adam genuinely took out his phone and checked his diary. And I went, really? What are you doing? Playing darts at the pub on Friday, are you? Instead of going to the Prime Minister's country residence for supper. Yeah. And then he was like,
you need to choose.
But we do. Yeah. He went, but we do have our summer party on Saturday. And I was like, oh shit, we do. And then, we had a band playing in the field, and we did it for our 40th in 2021. The two of us, we had a joint 40th. And then we've just decided to do it. We just bought a, crap marquee. And now we just put that up and then it's a local band who's awesome, who play underneath that. We have about 60 mates that come for barbecue, drinks. And then we have this, but we have to start preparing for it like early, and hay bales out for people to sit on. And he said, so anyway, I said, look, we can't say no because he's leaving in 5 days. When else are we going to get to go to Checkers and have dinner with, plus whatever your political views, I reckon there'd be a bloody laugh to hang out with. Yeah. So let's just bloody go.
And good food.
Yeah, exactly. So we went, but we checked into this pub near, and then I called up the pub, the taxi. So it's like one of those old pubs which have rooms. So it's like, four weddings and a funeral type vibe. And we both got a drink, went upstairs, we like putting on our clothes, and I called up a local cab company and I said, hi, I don't know how long it will take to get to this place, so you're going to have to just let me know because we're not from around here, but we need to be at Checkers for 7:30. And she was like, Checkers on the high street, love.
Checkers kebab shop? Is that one?
Yeah. Checkers fried chicken. CFC. I went, oh God, no, sorry. It's going to sound bizarre. But Checkers as in the Prime Minister's residence.
Were you like, I have finally arrived in life?
I was like, oh my God. Don't know whether I should be proud or whether this is bloody cringeworthy. And so she goes, oh, that Checkers. And I was like, yeah. And she had,
at least she'd heard of it.
Yeah. And then she goes, well, if you need to be there at 7:30, it's Friday night traffic. So what I would say is, it's only normally 5 minutes away, but if we pick you up at 15:15, then you'll be there for 20:20. I said, yeah, but we can't arrive 10 minutes early. That's even ruder than being late in my books. She was like, oh yeah, that's true. Well, we can always sit down the end of the lane in case, And I was like, okay. And I went, but actually, then we're just sitting in a car for 10 minutes, like whacking up the bloody meter. And then I went, to be honest, I spent so long on the phone to you, clogging up your phones. talking about this rubbish that you probably lost a load of money anyway, so I don't mind doing that. And then she was laughing. She went, okay, so anyway, I went, bye. Put the phone down, turned round, and Adam, my husband, was sitting in the corner with his drink, and he was just shaking his head. He was like, I said, what? I said, I had to check. It is rude to turn up early. And then he went, no, not that. I said, it's just hearing you say that, like going to the Prime Minister's residence for dinner. He said, you've only messaged Carrie on Instagram, right? Carrie is messaging you from a private, non-verified account. And she's not asked you to bring ID to one of the most security conscious places in the world. And you've never talked to her on the phone. Are you sure you're not being trolled? And I went, well, now you say that, yes, I do think I'm being trolled. So anyway, he went, I did bring our passports.
Bless him.
And I went, oh my God, well done. Anyway, got in the cab, pulled up, and 4 armed police guys come to the gate at the very end of this massive driveway. They're like, hi. And I'm like, hi. And I think we're here to see the Johnsons.
Which sounds really dodgy when you say it like that.
I should have just said, hi, yeah, we're having dinner with Boris.
Yeah, like you do.
And then he went, right, are you the guests for this evening? And I went, I think so.
This just sounds like you're digging yourself in a
I
hole
know,
here.
but I was literally like, I need to be aware that if he goes, no, you're not, I go, yeah, I thought, yeah,
I was only joking.
we are being trolled. Let's go to Checkers on the high street.
Let's go to that kebab shop.
I need a kebab and a drink. Checkers. And then, and then he goes, and then the cab driver went, what is this place?
Oh, God.
And I went, it's the Prime Minister's house. And he went, what? Anyway, so we showed our passports. They buggered off, came back, and they said the housekeeper's coming down to get you. And the housekeeper came down in the car and picked us up. We went up there, and it was all genuine, yeah. And then we got out of the car, and Boris came. I said to Adam, it'd be hilarious if he's in a suit, wouldn't it? Because Adam was wearing sort of like, it was summer's evening. He was wearing like linen trousers, a blue blazer jacket, shirt. You know what? I said it'd be funny. He won't be wearing a suit when he turned out. He came out in a suit, like really scruffily, of course, but a scruffy suit, scruffy hair, and like Boris. And then he came out and he came out and he put out his hand while I went in for the hug.
No.
And he went, Clara, and I was like, I was going in for the hug. And then Carrie came out and went, I'll take a bloody hug. And then we walked through Checkers, went to the Rose Garden, and had the funniest night. Yeah, eating food and drinking. And we went to theirs last weekend, actually.
Stop. So now you're like this?
Yeah, well, not quite, but yeah, we're getting there. Yeah, so we went for the weekend to theirs in Oxford, which was brilliant. Yeah,
it's so crazy. It's just such an epic journey.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, did you ever think for 1 nanosecond that you posting some stuff on TikTok? Hello? What?
And that.
See, I'm always thinking about food.
I might set up a social media platform called TikTok.
I mean, seriously.
You have to own Blue Tack and be on TikTok to be on it.
Yeah. Did you ever think that?
No, never. Because actually, to be honest, I don't have as many followers as a lot of people. You know, there are people. Yeah, I mean, yeah. But I mean, there are people who started at the same time with me with millions now, you know, but to be honest, the people who do like my stuff are the sort of hardcore fans, or, you know, some influential people or celebrities or journalists my stuff has got out there more.
To the right people.
Yeah, to the right people, which is all that matters if I can act.
Yeah. So projects in the pipeline.
Yeah.
I've heard you're doing more writing.
Yeah. So we're writing that. So that sitcom, we're just trying to get that off the ground and commissioned. the two of us we had a meeting with a literary agent who approached us about children's books, which was weird because we had talked about doing this, Philly and I, because we've got two kids each of the same age. We both said there's like a handful that we've seen of very funny kids' books where it's just as funny for the adult as the kids. It's not like basic humor. There's some
Right.
sarcasm or some undertones of other stuff that the kids may not understand, but the adult would just be in fits. And so we wanted a book which would a series of books which would make the kids go through an emotional journey. So both relate to it, laugh, maybe have a bit of a happy tear,
Right.
all of those sort of things, but also that when the parents are reading it with them, they have a good old giggle as well. So so that's where we're at with that. So we're just finishing the first book at the moment. It's sort of I feel like we might need to change it into a chapter book, but we'll see what the agent says, because we're currently, so picture books are typically between the age of 3 and 7, but you'd aim it at the lower end or the higher end of that age. Ours would be more like the 4 to 7, 5 to 8, that higher range, because it's something that my daughter could read as a 7-year-old on her own, or if she was to read it, I would read it to both of them sitting there on the bed, where it's paragraphs and the odd sentence, but illustrations, pictures. It's not chapters. And it's about 12 double pages, that sort of thing, but longer chunks, not just
sentences.
Yeah,
my
a
nephew's
sentence.
4 and my sister-in-law, he's into something at the moment which I don't want to mention, but it's a very common thing that kids like. And she's like, it's so badly written. I hate reading it to him.
Oh, really? That's
it's either that or
hilarious.
I bought him a book about a farting knight.
Oh, brilliant.
So again, the very infantile sense of humour, on the same level as a 4-year-old.
Night.
So it's either the very toilet humour, or it's the slightly older but maybe not brilliantly written.
Maybe
There's a big gap in the market.
Yeah, well, I hope. Yeah, so we're looking at doing a sort of series of about, I think, 5 or 6 books. But we'll start with the first one, see what the agent says about that. We'll probably have a lot of notes, but so that's that we're enjoying that, but it's a lot harder than you'd think. It's harder than writing an actual book.
In what way?
Well, I found, because I wrote the book like I talk, really.
Okay.
So
train of thought.
Train of thought, as well as anecdotes from past and present. So as soon as I would talk about something which would lead on to, it reminds me of a time where when I was living in London, I went to my friend's birthday and and then it would be that comedic anecdote with a bit of self-deprecation and sarcasm about myself thrown in and taking the piss out of myself. And it can be as long a chapter or shorter chapters as you want. You can go off on a tangent if you want. Whereas this is like, you've got a certain amount of, you've got to keep it you've got to get to the point. You've also got to make it readable with not too complicated words, which we've definitely put a few of those in. But then I was saying, but that's quite good, because then she'll say to, that person will say to their mom, what does this mean? Yeah. Or like, so when they say that, do they mean this? And then the mom can, but then if they're reading it on their own, probably, But, so you've got a lot more sort of
structure.
And a lot more structure, and also make sure you're not talking down to them. All of these things to remember, that you're not, that you're not being too cliched or any of those things. And also it's a short book, so it's got to have a storyline within a short time, and it's got to take you on an emotional journey in some respect, and it's maybe normally going to have a life lesson in there as well, for them to either think about or just relate to.
That's a lot.
I know. So, so every time I say to Philly, Guys, it is quite hard, isn't it? She goes, I don't think it is.
Oh,
And I'm like-
thanks. You're making me
I'm
feel
like,
much
really?
better.
It is quite hard. Like, I'm looking back on it and going, God, we need to put more dialogue in here. It's a bit wordy and like she's like, yeah, but then we'll just put more dialogue in there and make it less wordy. I'm like, all right.
All right. It's great that you're finding solutions to my problems, but can I have a bit of sympathy?
I know. But that's what's nice about writing with another person, because you end up complementing each other with all your different strengths and, but building each other up as well. And so, yeah, come on, let's do it.
Oh, well, it's funny that you just said that, because you mentioned a while back something about confidence when you were posting that video on TikTok.
Yeah.
And like a crisis of confidence.
Yeah.
How much do you feel your confidence improved with everything that's been going on?
I've always been quite a confident person, just in everyday life. Inside, I think confidence is sort of, you can naturally have confidence, but I think a lot of it is to do with parents and how much they instill it. Now, I don't mean by that, parents constantly saying, "Oh, you're beautiful. Oh God, you're so great. Oh," and then building confidence like that. I mean, to the extent where you feel secure and you're not always pulled apart, or you're not always, or you basically secure and happy.
Yeah.
If you're secure and happy in your home life and your parents are giving you a boost and confidence and believing in you, then you're going to naturally have that from that. But also, of course, you'll have certain people are more confident because of nature, not nurture.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it is to do with nurture, a lot of it. And for that, I thank my parents, because they definitely, from a young age, we were all, the three of us, really confident from a young age. And we still are, in social situations.
Yeah.
We can walk in and hold but definitely with regards to my ability and acting, because you take a lot of knocks.
Oh, yeah.
So when I was in my 20s, although I did just get on to the next and go, right, next audition, whatever, park that, you're still human. And so you're still like, oh God, I thought I nailed that and I didn't get it. So what else can I do? Like, maybe I'm not as good as I think. And, and you can have a bit of self-doubt. So what it has done is definitely built my confidence in that respect, because I've realized that my ability is actually all right, and for the average person, and it's not just a casting director or a director, you need the average person to like what you're doing to gain those followers. And so if they're going, oh yeah, she is a good actress, oh yeah, she's funny, or did it, then that's where it's built the confidence.
Yeah.
So that's definitely increased since all the social media stuff, because I think there's no better accolade than the general public liking your stuff.
and kind of like you said, having a different career as you've got older, or as you've become a mum, something that you always really loved, but now you're actually actually doing it.
Yeah it is I do think having kids, you sort of gain a different confidence, because it gives you the ability to realize what you're capable of.
And you've kept small people alive.
Yeah, and
that's an achievement.
I know, that's an achievement in itself. I mean, keeping myself alive is an achievement. So 2 other small things. But yeah, it's so I think it sort of makes you realize, like, oh God, if I can do this, I could definitely, try that again.
Well, there was a brilliant question that somebody had here that was, okay, what's scarier, auditioning for a new acting role or dealing with a child's tantrum?
Auditioning all day long.
Really?
Seriously. Yeah, oh my God. I'm so glad that nowadays it's, Self-tapes,
Oh,
mainly.
welcome to my world.
Oh, what do you do?
So I started as a model 30 years ago.
You started
as a model.
as a
30
model?
years ago. Very long time ago.
Wow.
But I've always done TV commercials and so bits of acting, but I don't think of myself as an actress. I didn't go to drama school.
See.
So I'm still in that world, but thankfully I've been very busy.
Brilliant. And so when you mentioned earlier about dancing, are you a dancer?
I'm not a dancer. I think
right.
people look at me and assume I'm a dancer,
Oh,
unless you count
right.
headbanging, which I don't,
Yeah.
don't really know if
Air
that counts.
guitar.
Yeah, air guitaring. But yeah, lots of self-tapes, lots of hilarious like auditions. I was going to ask you about funny auditions.
I don't think I've had any funny auditions. One sticks out that so the self-tapes I love now because it's just what I do every day.
Yeah.
And I can do it as many times as I like, much to the detriment of my day, because then I end up doing it a lot. But I love self-tapes because also you don't have that sort of like, oh my God, I've got to go into the audition now and I've got one shot at it. And if I just forget that one line or if I do, and I'm just relaxed doing them because it's what I do every day anyway, have my phone on my tripod and act stuff. So yeah, so not funny, but so I learn all the lines before I do the audition.
Wow.
But yeah.
Good on you.
Then,
I don't.
Well, half the time they go, we'd like it off book, please.
Oh, why don't
and you go, right, okay, thanks. No, so I just do it now. But this one was one scene, but so long. So it was really, if I got one line wrong, I couldn't stop it. So I had anyway, the first take that I did, I loved my performance. I loved I got every line spot on. I got to the end and I was like, did I just get it right first? I was like, I really liked my performance in that as well. I was like, this is bloody brilliant. Went onto it and I hadn't pressed record. Or what I do with my Samsung, I put my hand up like that and it records. If you show your palm, it starts recording.
Yeah.
And I'd obviously done that and it hadn't. And I felt like I'd like written a book and lost it all. Like I was just like, no. And then, of course, it took about 10 goes to actually get it all the way through. And even then when I did it, it was portrait, not landscape, because I always film in portrait for social media. Oh God, it's horrific. And then I was like, no. And then I had to turn it and do it again. So yeah, that's what's, I'm sure there were some funny stories back in my 20s when you actually physically
had to go to a casting.
Went to, but nothing. There was a funny story about when my agent, who I was talking about earlier, my first agent, called me and he was like, I write this in the book actually, and he called me and he said, he never called me. And I was like, oh, hi. And he was like, right, so you've got a part. And I went, what? He said, yeah, they want you. Seriously, they've said no need to audition. They took a look at your headshot. They've looked at your CV and they just said, yeah, we want to offer her the part. I went, what? Oh my God, what is it? And he said, so it's a, he said,
Here we go.
it's a, what are they called? The dramas? It's like a psychological thriller, but what are they? Police dramas? No, detective dramas or whatever.
Yeah.
He said it's a detective series. I went, oh, I love those. He said, so it's like a psychological thriller. I went, yeah, brilliant. He said, so it starts with a policewoman walking along the beach. And I was like, yeah. And he said, and there's a body washed up on the beach and she finds this body and you would be the body. I went, what? And he said, are you okay with partial nudity?
I'm being freezing cold in the sea. And
I went,
you're right with that?
No and no. Oh my God. And this is the agent. He didn't want me to be an extra with one line. I was like, fuck off.
I'm actually crying. So one of my weirdest ones, it must have been for a computer game. And it was one of those ones, some castings you go in, you're in and out in 3 seconds. This one you queued for an hour. And then they said, so think of your favourite animal. Take a wild guess, cat.
Yeah.
And so think of your favourite animal, but imagine them as a ninja. You know, as a, they're fighting.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of going, like, you honestly can't have any shame. Like, if you are even slightly embarrassed, you're like, what on earth am I doing with my life? But you have to have no embarrassment levels at all.
That you could, you know, there are worse animals to be ninjas, to be honest. I feel like cats are ninjas anyway.
Yeah. And there was one brilliant one where I went in with this guy and they said, look, it's a commercial and they're going to superimpose ducks' heads onto your bodies. So I walked around the house for a week quacking. Genuinely. My cat at the time must have thought I was mental. So I get there and they go, right, Deborah, you're going to be a goose. And I went, but I've been quacking. What?
You're like, huh? Like, no, you said duck.
You said duck. So I was like, I don't know how a goose sounds. They honk. But again, I'd not been practicing my honking.
Oh, God.
So both this guy and I had to go into the casting room and honk at each other. And I thought it was hysterical. I thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever done. And I glanced at the guy and he looked like he was about to slit his wrists.
Really?
And I was like, are you okay? And he went, darling, you'd never think I was a classically trained actor. So it was obviously a real low point for him, but I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, gosh, but it's so true. It is so true. That's what you
So it's so nice meeting people that completely understand what it's like.
It's, oh my God, that is so true though, because there have been times where I just think, oh my God, what am I actually doing? Particularly when I'm like, and stuff where I've chosen to make this stuff up for my own sketches.
Yeah.
I'm like, what am I doing? But that is hilarious, just honking.
Honking.
Oh.
I think I went, meh, meh. I was going like that, hoping that sounded authentic.
It's like last night when I said, my friend popped over and she said, how did the auditions go last week? I said, yeah, they went well. And I said, I didn't get the Emmerdale one. I said, but they came back with feedback, which is actually quite rare. And they said, you know, we really enjoyed Clara's audition and I'm sorry it didn't go her way this time, but we are definitely keeping her in mind for future projects, for future characters. And I said, so I'm pleased with that because I don't normally get back to you unless you've done, you know, you've got further along. And then I said, plus, you know, if I'd got that part, it would be 3 episodes as a doctor, you know, and then I wouldn't be able to ever be an Emmerdale again as a main part. So, you know, every cloud. And then she went, yeah, I guess so. And then she went, although, is Emmerdale what you want to do? Is Emmerdale what you want to do? And I went, I can take anything, mate.
Hello, you're an actor.
I went, what are you talking about? I went, Emmerdale's like sky high for me right now.
Yeah, my mum used to love Emmerdale.
I was like, soaps are brilliant. Yeah. I was like, I'll be in any of them. And then she went, oh, right, okay, I just want, I said, mate, I'm not at the stage where I can pick and choose. But
Hollywood's not on the phone now.
I said, I don't have scripts on my desk. I go, God, I've got to read all of them and decide which one I want to do. They're all barking at my bloody door wanting me. I said, no, I'm going to audition for bloody everything and anything. And if I get it, I'll be bloody chuffed.
Absolutely. And it'll be amazing.
Yeah.
Have you got any acting stuff in the pipeline or just auditioning at the moment?
Yeah, just auditioning at the moment.
I get it.
I'm on a TV advert at the moment.
Wait, what? Can you tell me?
Cressy. She's on it with me. Yeah, she's it's Coventry Building Society. And it's funny, it's comedic. What's good is that Chris, who directed the film, I think he started out but he still does a lot of comedic TV adverts. That's what he gets flown over from LA to do British ones. So so he quite often puts me forward to the casting directors and says, you know, I've worked with her before and she's a good comedy actress. And so what's great is so I've done 2 adverts for TV, Tiger Sheds and that, both directed by Hip. But when I've when I've done them, I've been really, because adverts can be cringe, so, oh, I saw you in the McDonald's advert where just sitting there eating a chicken sandwich and, you're
Yeah, it was yummy.
winking at your little kid while she eats her Happy Meal,
Yeah.
But I'm really proud of these adverts because they're actually very funny, or they're, I can use my sort of facial expressions to
Yes.
make it a bit more. So yeah, now when people, when my followers see the adverts, they always like get on my latest video and go, "Oh my God, I just saw you on the TV advert." And they're like, "It was brilliant. It was a really good advert." And I'm like, "Yeah, it was." Not because I was in it. I'm just really chuffed with it.
It's something you're proud of, which is lovely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. And your daughter's in it, so it's more special.
That was so much fun to do. Really fun.
Oh, and what are your aspirations?
Get all these writing projects done.
Right.
Because we're also doing an adult comedic animation as well, which oh gosh, yeah.
I don't know why that sounds rude. Why does that sound rude?
It does. It does.
Maybe it's the word
anything
adult.
where you say adult before something.
You're right.
But I have to say it because if I say animation, people think that it's like a kid's movie or something.
Cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's more like a sort of down the lines of, South Park, Family Guy,
Right.
So it's a bit more risque than The Simpsons, but, it aimed more at the adults. You wouldn't want your kids to watch it.
Okay.
Yeah. But it is an animation like that.
Okay.
So we're doing that. And then, so I want to get those. My main aspiration is to get this bloody sitcom commissioned.
Right.
Seriously. Because I know it, yeah.
Anyone out there with money?
Yeah.
Please.
Anyone out there with money to either film the pilot? Seriously. Actually, why don't I just do a crowdfunder?
You're missing a trick.
Just to get the pilot made.
Or just keep in all of your videos, this is my idea, in all of your videos, at the end, just go, anyone got any money? Remember, I'm trying to raise for this. Just keep putting it out there.
God, yeah, because I haven't actually said it because I want to announce it when it's being done. So I haven't said anything yet. But if I actually did a crowdfunder to make the pilot myself.
And maybe you've got followers that know somebody and somebody can help.
Because I think if they see a pilot done, then they'd go, "Oh, this is great." I genuinely, it's the thing I'm probably most
it's
proud of.
It's your third child.
Yeah, exactly.
And no book, fourth child.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's all I want to do. But yeah, that's just come to my mind.
Use the exposure to see if anyone can help.
Yeah. I think because we did say if we could just make the pilot, and actually if they're not going to give us the money to make it, the production company, because they said they'd get it from the channel.
Right.
If they commission, they'll also, he said sometimes we've given like a couple of grand just for development. Yeah. But he said, we don't pay for pilots. We, we'll take it on and pitch to the channels. But he said we're finding it really difficult at the moment. So if you can have a hook, as in, even if you start filming little scenes to put on your channel and people get to like Jeremy and but I think if we can do a pilot, that'd be bloody... Anyway,
well, I'll only charge you 20% for that idea. So, I mean, goodness of my heart.
Yeah.
Classic. So I have got some classic questions.
All right. Oh, yeah, I didn't look at anything because I didn't want to...
Oh.
I looked at the brief of what we'd talk about. Okay. But then when it said quickfire questions, I didn't know if you had written it. I came straight off.
Oh,
because I like quickfire questions where it's spontaneous.
Right, I might just go through them in order then.
Yeah, go on then.
Okay. Your must-have after a hard day?
Good food, not going out, and a gin and tonic.
Excellent. I'm not surprised about the gin and tonic there.
or a nice chilled glass of wine. One of those. A drink, good food, and not going out.
What constitutes good food for you?
Asian food. Anything Asian. But any good food. I like everything.
Okay.
I'm just obsessed with food.
Mm.
Yeah.
Except dark chocolate.
Except dark chocolate, unless it's got salted caramel in it.
Oh.
Or chili. Dark chocolate goes well with all those
so
things.
well with chili. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm going off on one again. Acting or writing?
Acting all day long.
Okay.
But writing is comedy writing is a big thing for me. But if I could only do one for the rest of my life, acting.
Okay, interesting. This one is brilliant. What is your parenting superpower?
Making out that I want them to do the opposite.
Reverse psychology.
Yes. Yeah.
Give me an example.
So if they go, so if I say, right, come on, we're late, come on, let's get out. Monty normally, because he's like might be on his iPad or something, he goes, I don't want to go for lunch. It's always like if we go to pub for Sunday lunch or something, like, come on, we're meeting Nana at the pub. I don't want to go to the pub for lunch. I just want to sit and watch my iPad. And I go, okay, that's fine. I'll see you later. You know,
Yeah, bye.
It's fine because but I do want to go and see Nana. So you're okay to stay here, right? You're cool to stay here. And he goes, what? Yeah, I don't mind. You can watch your iPad here. It's fine. I just got to go. He's like,
Mummy,
yeah.
don't go.
And then I walk out the door and I listen and he's like running after me. Can I bring my iPad? Yeah, okay, if you want. I mean, but I'm fine with you staying here. Oh God, this is really confusing. And then he comes. Yeah.
So I'm an auntie of a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. And apparently my superpower is that I have such a bad sense of smell because I have rubbish sinuses that I can never smell when they need changing or they've had an accident.
That's your
so you
superpower.
could consider that a superpower.
I love
Apparently
that.
I'm a great person to babysit because it doesn't affect me at all.
Oh, that's
But obviously it's quite
hilarious.
bad for them.
Yes.
Yeah, so his parents, my brother is quite jealous of that one. They
love
can
that.
smell it the minute they walk in a room.
Yeah,
You'd
of
have to,
course.
literally they'd have to have their bottoms pressed against my nose. And I wouldn't smell a thing.
That is
Yeah.
hilarious.
It's ridiculous.
I love that that's a superpower though.
It's the only one I can think of. So, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I know this because I was telling someone it the other day.
Oh.
I was telling another social media person. Another person's, so I don't know how the expression went, but this is basically the gist of what they said. Another person's success does not take away from your own.
So true.
For example, on social media, there's a lot of competition. You know, there's like, you know, particularly if people start at the same time or they become friends with someone. You see, so this woman has said to me, oh, thanks for that advice, Kai. You know, because I said, oh, by the way, do this because they're monetizing this. And if you join this, and she went, oh, great. Thanks for the advice. I had no idea. And she's like, I love that. You're always like about supporting other creators. And, you know, you're not like, oh, yeah, well, now that means I'll make this.
Yeah.
Or that means that I'll
make less money because of you.
But I said to her, yeah, but the thing is, it's like when if someone got an acting job from being on social media, or someone, you know, suddenly takes off and gets loads of press and is on TV doing interviews. I probably at the very start of social media, when you're trying to make it and you saw things like this happening for people, there's probably a tinge of like, God, why isn't that happening for me? You know, but because you're human.
Yeah.
But on the whole, I always have this mantra in my head now. I can't even remember who told me it, but I just remember it from about 2 years ago. And now I always say it to me. I say, well, I'm always going to help other people out or be chuffed for them, because just because they're doing well doesn't mean that your own where you're going to be, how you're going to succeed is diminished in any way just because someone else is doing well.
Yeah, in fact, it doesn't actually impact on you at all unless you let it.
No, it doesn't impact at all. Why not be like, well done, mate?
Yeah.
That's bloody brilliant. And then go, yeah, I could do that as well. Or, you know, that's her field that she's doing well in, and mine is acting, and, you know, I'll go out and get that. You know, and if anything, you should look at it and go, wow, social media is great. You're managing to get that from that. And
there's no reason why Well,
other
you can't.
people's success doesn't diminish your own or doesn't stop you from succeeding.
That's so true. It's funny because only yesterday a girl messaged me on Instagram and said, "Oh, Deborah, I remember working with you years ago or a year ago, and you mentioned commercial model agencies." So I was like, "Oh, there's loads." Blum, bum, bum, bum.
Yes.
'Cause she's a different age group to me. She's not going to take my work away.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's bad karma to not think that there's enough to go round.
Yeah, exactly. That's another.
Yeah.
It's basically the same thing. There's enough to go round that one person who's doing quite well is not going to take away from any of what you're striving to achieve.
Absolutely. And I suppose it says more about your insecurity
Absolutely.
than anything else.
Yeah.
But like you said, you're only human and we're all allowed those moments.
Of course you
just
might
go, I
get
wish
it
that was
twice.
me. So the one thing we haven't discussed is your hair. Why the pink?
Well, I know it's weird, isn't it? Why the pink? Oh,
Yeah.
so because I like it.
That's because it's fab. When did it start?
So I know when it started. It was in early 2021. I asked my hairdresser, because hairdressers weren't open.
Yeah.
And I said, but we weren't in like lockdown. It was, what was it? We were able to, I think it was like rule of 6 or whatever,
Right, okay.
whatever it was. You know,
Okay,
they kept opening more and more up.
Yeah.
But hairdressers hadn't come open. And I had the You magazine thing and I said, mate, I need my hair dyed. I have got so much grey. And she said, right, well, the salon's not open. I can't pick up anything. Go to Sainsbury's and get Bleach London bleach, right? Bleach London, and I will use a chopstick and foils and we'll do it that way. And I was like, okay. So I went to Sainsbury's and I went to pick up the Bleach London, and I saw next to it Rose Conditioner by Bleach London, and I just picked it up and I thought, Rose Conditioner? So it's only a conditioner. And then after she had done it, I tried a couple of days later. I was like, I'm just going to try this Rose Conditioner, put it on, and I loved it. And it was really pastel. This isn't actually the same. I've never found anything as nice as Bleach London. This is not an ad.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, I bang on about them on social media a lot because everyone always asks me how I get the pink. But yeah, and then from then on, I was a convert. I like changing my hair colour as it is. And so Bleach London do purple, bright orange, you know, and they're all conditioners that wash out in a couple of washes.
Who knew?
Yeah. Proper copper, burnt peach.
You sure you're not being sponsored?
No, I know. Bleach London, if you're listening, do sponsor me.
Sponsor. But it's lovely.
Or actually sponsor my sitcom.
See? Plug.
Yeah. In fact, Skinny Tan, you can as well. Catch me. Anyway, why don't you all club together, 10 grand each, and sponsor the sitcom?
How much do you love Clara?
I'll dye my hair in it and everything with Bleach London, wear Catch Me clothes, and make myself tanned.
It's win-win all round.
It is. It's a win-win for everyone, particularly you guys.
Oh my goodness. Right, we keep going off the tangent. I love it. Describe parenting in 3 words.
Chaotic, rewarding, beautiful.
Oh.
I actually mean it though. No, chaotic first though.
Definitely.
Right, chaotic first. But seriously, it is beautiful and it is rewarding. It's really rewarding. A fucking nightmare sometimes, but rewarding all the same.
Oh. Yeah, that's lovely. Oh, right. Who is your biggest inspiration?
Probably any of the great English, Judi Dench, Emma Thompson, you know, they are definitely my biggest inspiration. Judi Dench probably by far. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Legend.
Love it. Okay.
And a really nice person as well, aside from it.
I was going to say, have you met her?
No.
Oh.
But my friend from school, let me get this right. She's an actress, or she was an actress. She's a drama teacher now. My friend, her daughter's godmother
Right.
is Judi Dench's daughter.
Okay. Wow.
So
Right, okay.
she's met her loads of times, and she sings her praises about how lovely she is. And she said she's so sweet, so down to earth, so decent. And yeah, and so that makes it, I mean, you can sort of tell that anyway. But yeah, and also I love her sense of humour. And above all, her acting is bloody incredible.
She is
always has been.
Great British lovey.
I remember watching her on As Time Goes By. Do you remember that?
I remember the time travelling one. No, right. What am I thinking of? Seriously. As time goes, I'm sure there's a time travelling film called As Time Goes By.
Him and her and
the guy with the face.
I hope he has a face.
Sort of bulldog, the kind of bulldog face. Yes, I know who you're talking about.
That was a really good.
He had the most fantastic face.
Yes, what?
With a proper hangdog expression.
Yes.
Can't remember his name. But I'm sure he was lovely.
1992.
No.
Yes, that is a perfect.
Yeah.
That is perfectly explained from his face.
Great character actor face.
Jeffrey Palmer.
Jeffrey Palmer.
Oh, Judi Dench looks so young.
Oh, well, what was it, 92? Oh, she's
I've
gorgeous.
always loved her pixie hair
Yeah. Well, maybe if you play Jeremy.
Oh, yeah. No, he's got to have floppy hair.
Oh, okay.
He's got to have curtains, hasn't he? Like the 1990s.
Really. My brother still sometimes has that hair.
I love that, though. So does Adam, actually, a bit.
Yeah, I've seen all the videos with Adam. So, yeah, he's got an impressive head of hair.
Yeah, he has, hasn't he?
Yeah.
His dad does as well, so I think he'll keep that.
Excellent. You know what you're getting.
Excellent. Monty, you'll be fine.
Excellent work.
Excellent. You thought well before you bred.
Okay, we've kind of talked about the next one, but your biggest achievement so far in your career?
Well, I think the biggest achievement, even though it's not the career path I'm going down, is writing a book. I think that's my biggest achievement within the career, any career, not my kids.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a huge achievement. But I think, writing a book, but down the acting path, it's definitely the film. It's definitely the Christmas film, because I've never had a part with lines in a proper movie that's been released that's not been an indie. And it's Sky. Wow. And it's out again like every bloody year at the moment. Well, I don't know.
Coming up to Christmas.
I hope it's coming out this year again. It came out last year as well. So
I'm going to have to watch it this year.
Yeah.
Because I've met you.
It is
I'm going to have to.
So good. I love it. And I love Christmas movies anyway.
Same.
So then to get a part in a Christmas film, be prepared to cry.
Oh, no, not the moment. No.
No, cry as in...
With happiness?
Well...
Oh. I might need to leave it till maybe...
will laugh.
Till maybe June.
You will laugh and have a little cry. Okay. It's not that bad.
I don't want it to tip me over the edge, Clara.
No, okay. I don't want to be responsible for that
I'll have to watch all of your TikTok videos just to laugh again.
Yeah, you'll be like, I thought it was meant to be a happy film.
She's meant to be a comedian and make me laugh.
Yeah, she told me about this sodding film that made me cry and not out of happiness.
Okay, but at least you've told me that, so I'm more prepared now.
But no, it is on the whole. I mean, it's very humorous and chilled and laid back. Okay. It's just one little theme in it. That's more.
If it's anything to do with animals dying, right, I'd probably be able to cope then.
Okay. Has one of your animals died?
Yeah, my cat died on Thursday.
Oh, stop.
And I'm a mad animal lover. Yes. And she was only 9. She got mouth cancer.
Oh, no.
So I'm sort of still getting over the trauma of that.
Oh, God.
But I haven't cried today, so I think I'm actually improving.
Oh, bless you. Thanks for coming and doing it.
You've really cheered me up.
Oh, good.
Like I said, there was no pressure. I was already cheered up watching your videos. So to
Oh.
anyone that's going through anything at the moment, watch Clara's videos. But thank you for your understanding.
No.
I think if people aren't animal people, they don't
yeah.
quite get it. And I was like, but
No, and
I lived with her.
they're really part of the family. It's like losing a proper member of the family.
Oh, anyway,
Sorry,
no.
yeah.
Right. Oh, okay. So we talked about funniest audition fail. Was that the one you told me about? Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, what is your guilty pleasure?
Reality TV.
Which ones?
Married at First Sight.
Love it.
I do a
Put it there.
I do a whole chapter on this in the book. Now you're gonna have to read the
I'm
book.
going to have to.
That
But
will
I'm
make
not a
you
mummy,
laugh.
is that right?
Oh
Is
yeah,
it
it's
allowed?
not seriously. Half of my reviews are by men. You know.
They might be fathers.
Yeah, but no. And also, if you read the reviews, half of them say it's you don't have to have been on TikTok. You don't have to have had kids.
I have read.
And you don't have
those.
to have
Yeah.
So it's not. I mean, it's got kids in it, but it's incidental because they're part of my life, and I'm talking as if it's a diary.
Yeah.
So it's obviously going to have, parts like, oh, and then Father's Day came around and Cressy wanted to get Daddy a da-da-da. So we went to Tunbridge Wells and we da-da-da-da. And then a funny story about that. And then so we took the kids to the fairground and then, well, that was fun to spend £82 on, watching them on Peppa Pig rides, So there's parts, but it's definitely not about that.
Okay.
It's more comedic anecdotes throughout the course of a year. And also a lot about my London days. Back in my teens and 20s, I've got loads in there about before I even got married and had kids. So there's quite a lot of backstories, like the agent, washed up on the beach. That's good, thanks.
Yeah, so you never did get to play a dead body floating in from the ocean, freezing to death.
I do remember taking the job of a body double.
Oh, that could be fun.
I was in a shower scene.
You're brave.
I know.
Are you allowed to say you were body doubling for?
I can't remember.
Oh.
It was just for it was a drama series that I can't even remember what it was. But it was in a shower scene. And I remember my agent said, you're not going to be shown, it's not going to be shown because it's frosted glass from there to there, but you'd be able to see a rough outline.
Okay.
And she is very paranoid about her behind. And her bum and thighs. And she just does not want, because she's always shown head and shoulders normally. And then she's got to be like naked in a shower. And also back then I was like 19. So, I had a
banging body.
Yeah, well, not banging, but definitely not a mum.
Oh.
So I did that. And I just remember going, oh yeah, I'll do it. Because it was quite good money. And then that was one of my lows where I stood there and went, fucking hell. Guildhall Drama School.
Was it cold water?
Warm.
Oh,
they said, don't worry, it's going to be a closed set, which means that only the director.
Yeah.
Bloody getting into this shower on this set.
But everyone and his mother.
Yeah. It's about 35 people. I was like throwing over the dressing gown. And I was like, bloody hell.
This is a closed set.
Oh, hang on. I was with a bloke in there.
What? It's all coming out now.
I've just remembered. Oh my God, yeah, because he went, how's the temperature for you? Is it all right? We both had to be stark naked. Oh my God.
You are very brave.
I would never do it now. Unless it was part of the part that I was playing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't ask for a body double if it was me.
Okay. But it might be your prerogative to ask for a body double.
Yeah, but I think I'd only have a stunt double.
Okay. No, I think I definitely have a bum double if I could. Yeah.
Really? I've basically got no bum. Can I just get a tummy double?
We're being really specific here.
And a boob lift double. Anything that shows I've not had kids.
Oh,
No,
but you
I'm
wouldn't be
joking.
without them. So,
No.
you know.
But yeah. I'd like to blame it on them, but really it's just my love of food. I can't blame it on them. Bloody hell.
Well,
There's
you know
enough women out there who've had kids that don't have a stomach. No, I'm joking.
Oh,
I'm
but it's
alright.
about being comfortable within yourself.
And I am, and I love food. So there we go.
That's the most important thing.
There we go.
Yeah. So,
most-
right. I've got some quickfire questions. Well, they're called quickfire questions. I don't think they're that quick, but we'll see.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought that's what we were doing.
There's just a few more.
Oh, right.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah, of
Brilliant.
course.
Some of them are quite good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love these sort of things.
Okay. Kids' artwork dilemma. Picture the scene. A. Art gallery curator displaying every masterpiece with pride. Or B. Secret art disposal agent ensuring the fridge doesn't overflow.
Yeah, second one.
B.
Even yesterday, I chucked 5 pieces that were pretty new as well, so I felt going straight in the fire. It's
Brutal.
I know it's from the last couple of days as well, but every bloody day. And then I go in to collect them from school, and they go, "Monty, he's created this," and then it's another bloody thing made out of loo rolls, and and I'm like, "What is it?" And then I'm like, "Brilliant, great kindling, thank you." No, it's no, there are too many. If Cressy came back with this amazing picture that they're both very good at art, but if it's just like, "Oh yeah, I just did this," like, great, fire. But if it is amazing, I do keep them.
Okay.
Because when I look at it and I go, "Did you actually do? Jeez, Chris, that's amazing." I can't get rid of that.
Right. Okay. But there's a big distinction.
So I'm not that bad. There's it has to be, it has to be almost
The Mona
bloody,
Lisa.
Yeah, it has to be Monet level. It can't be anything less. Even when she came back with a self-portrait where they'd learnt about Picasso, and you know how shit Picasso is.
For any art lovers out there.
I never thought I'd hear myself say that sentence. You know how shit Picasso is. He is, though. It's shit. It's not. Anyway.
I studied history of art many years ago.
Yeah, ditto. But yeah, she said she came back. And obviously a lot of his art does look like kids' drawings because it's all out of shape.
Yeah,
There's
cubist.
one eye up there, one nose here, one. Yeah. So she came back, and actually I thought it was better than Picasso. And she came back and went, "What do you think?" I went, "Well, it's not meant to be realistic, is it?"
You do know that people don't have 12 eyes.
Yeah, and she went, No, is that? Do you know what artist it's meant to be like? And I went, "Yep, Picasso." And she went, and then I could tell she watches YouTube because then she went, "Yeah, Picasso."
A Picasso.
because the bloody Americans say Picasso. "Hey, it looks like a Picasso." And she goes, "Yeah, it's a Picasso." But when she says it like that, because she's got a really English voice, she just sounds really posh. "Yes, Mummy, it's a Picasso." So there we go.
Fantastic. Okay. Toy storage strategy. A.
There is such a thing.
Apparently. A. Artful chaos. B. Military grade organisation.
Oh, God. What's the something chaos?
Artful. So this is toy storage strategy.
No, just
artful.
Chaos.
Chaos without the artful.
Yeah, just chaos.
Great.
Yeah. Next. I didn't even know there was.
I know some people, I suppose, would clear everything out, at the end of the day and perfectly curated storage.
No, we've got about 8 toy boxes and it all just gets whacked in.
Brilliant.
If we can be asked.
Okay, morning routine.
Oh, God.
Okay, that's not a good sign already.
No.
A, calm and collected chaos.
Where's the calm and collected bit?
I don't know.
Just chaos.
B, the carefully orchestrated morning ballet.
Oh, my God.
Who does that?
Who has that ever? I didn't even have that before kids.
Maybe if your kids are like 23 and 28.
Yeah. No, just
No,
chaos.
Right.
Seriously, every morning is one of the most stressful times of my life. And every morning in the car, I say to the kids, okay, tomorrow, if you go to bed earlier, you will get up easily. And then breakfast will be just chilled. And you can get in the car without rushing. And we won't need to get stressed. Is that okay? Please. and then Cressy goes, yeah, we'll do that tomorrow. And then there it is, like 10 to 9. Mummy, I'm just not tired. I've been trying to go to sleep. And that happens all over again. It's the most stressful time of the day. Anyway, I'm going to cry
I feel
now.
like I should give you a gin right now. And talking about gin ritual.
Uh-huh.
Okay, A, adapting gin choices, a chameleon of spirits. B, sticking to gin preferences because routine rocks. Oh, I'm a rocker.
I like dabbling with gin choices. I love a strawberry gin. The other day, my mum and I had a what's it called? Lavender. A lavender gin with elderflower tonic. We have quite a few pubs which brew their own gin round us, and so we have, we'll go with a blackberry gin with a Mediterranean tonic. Yeah. Oh no, I love all the different flavoured gins.
Wow.
So definitely not just the same one. And you can sod off with just a standard one. I'm not interested in those anymore. Just have to have fruit-based.
Well, it's one of your 5 a day, I'd say, isn't it?
Yes, definitely one of your
Keep
5
doing
a
it.
day. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Social media star secrets. A, master of the perfect TikTok dance move. B, wizard of turning everyday chaos into viral gold.
Well, I have to be B.
Okay, true.
Although it's not necessarily everyday chaos into viral gold, but yeah, it is just a mishmash of, should I put that out there? Oh, okay, yeah. And then what? How did that take off? So it's chaos.
So which ones do you find are the most popular? Have you ever broken it down?
Probably the food ones at the moment.
Really?
Not on Instagram, TikTok.
Okay.
So the food ones almost every time get a couple of 100,000 views within the first day, and loads of them have hit 1, 2, 3 million views. Yeah.
Is this with the hot guy?
No, the food reaction.
The food reaction,
the shit
okay.
Food.
Right.
Oh, and the hot guy.
And the food with the hot guy.
Yeah,
I remember that one.
Shit food, hot guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, those have taken off as well. The reaction videos, basically.
So good.
He's not called hot guy. Thorin Bradley.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. But there's worse ways to be described, I guess.
Yeah, there are worse ways.
Yeah.
But also, I normally say hot guys because I've reacted to a few other hot guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but I don't want to upset any of the hot guys.
No.
Plural.
And all I know is that the other one's called Ben.
Okay.
Small plug for those hot guys.
I bet you weren't expecting this when you came today, or were you?
No, I wasn't really expecting me to say shit food hot guys.
It's the great thing about podcasts.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last but not least, TV comedy writing. A, Zen master of balancing inspiration and discipline. B, chaos conductor, orchestrating comedy sketches with a sprinkle of private life.
Well, I'm not doing TV sketch thing with private life. So if we're talking about TV, the TV would be the sitcom, which is more orchestrated.
Okay.
But it's definitely got chaos in that me and Finny basically procrastinate a lot. So there's chaos in that respect. But then when we get down to it, it's orchestrated and we go for it.
Okay.
But the sketch is definitely the second one. The social media sketch is definitely chaos with a sprinkle of private life.
And maybe my last question should be, how have you found balancing all of this, all of the stuff you're doing with your private life?
That's not really changed much. I'm obviously a lot busier now. So sometimes I feel a bit guilty that I used to be so sort of on it with my friends. And if I got a message, I'd be replying straight away. Friends are extremely important to me, and the good ones you need to hold on to, but you've got to be a good friend back to them, obviously. So I'm quite often apologising. Oh, mate, I'm so sorry. I don't know how I missed this, but I obviously clicked on it when you first sent it and I haven't bloody responded. And so because I'm busier, I've taken my foot off that a bit. That's one of my New Year's resolutions, to just make more time. Just
Okay.
make sure I'm staying on being a good mate, basically. And other than that, aside from that, is just, the only thing that's really changed is people occasionally recognizing me, and saying, hi, love your song, which is always great to hear because they're the ones who put you there in the first place. So to hear from, the people who love your stuff when they stop you and say, oh, I just really like your stuff and I just wanted to say, then that's lovely. But that's not really balancing. I suppose it is a bit, but it's balancing the sort of takeoff of it all. But it's not, other than that, apart from, my house looking more of a shithole because I'm not doing as much housewife duties as I used to. Apart from my house looking like a shithole, there's not much that's changed.
Well, I suppose the lovely thing about what you do is your kids are involved, your husband's involved. So actually you're not missing out on family time.
No.
You're embracing it.
Yeah. When they are involved, but there's definitely mum guilt when, even last night when I put Chrissy to bed and she's like, I can't get sleep. And I was in my bedroom filming a sketch. And I was like, okay, 1 sec. And I went, okay, let me sing you a song. And then I was like, God, it's 9 o'clock. I don't want to post too late. But, I still, sang her 2 songs and then went into it. But also I'd say the book took up most time out of family life.
Okay.
So I won't be doing another one of those anytime soon.
I was going to say, would you consider
Never
another
say
one?
never, but not anytime soon.
Okay.
Yeah. Kids' books will be my next adventure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with absolutely everything.
Thank you.
All of it. Family, kids.
Thank you so much.
All the amazing work opportunities. I hope you get that part in Emmerdale or any
No, I
other.
didn't get that part in Emmerdale.
I mean, I hope you do eventually.
Oh, yeah, get a bigger part.
Yeah, or
that's
any
longer
other
running.
Yeah, or any other soap or any other
I know,
program.
EastEnders used to be my favourite.
I used to love it.
Watch
Same.
EastEnders.
Same.
I was literally like, no one can get better than EastEnders.
I loved it. I remember the very first
it's only
episode.
since not watching TV much anymore, apart from recorded stuff, that I just don't have time to watch 4 or 5 episodes of EastEnders a week and keep up with it.
Maths is bad enough because there's 4 episodes a week.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I did. Is there an English one?
Yes, so I've just finished it. It's just finished.
And is that better now? Because the Australian one was way better.
I can't believe we're talking about this. Many years ago, when maths first started in England, it was more like a documentary.
Yes.
So it was very, documentary style. Now it copies the Australian version.
Oh, does it?
You'll love it. It's fab.
Oh, good.
Lots of shouting and reality TV.
Because I haven't done the English version, because the first one, it was like, and now they're going to move in together.
Yeah, no, it's not like that.
Oh, good.
Honestly, it follows the Australian one to a T.
Oh, so they now have like dinner parties.
Oh, yes.
Oh, brilliant. Yes.
And they all move into an apartment block in Wembley, so it's not that far from here.
I'm so excited to watch that now.
If you can find a quiet moment, you've got a lot of viewing to catch up on.
My word.
Oh, yeah.
Starting it tonight. That's it.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, excuse me.
It's been so much fun.
I've had such a laugh.
Oh,
honestly, thank you.
Oh, no, thank you.
Really lovely. Thank you so much for watching this 3rd episode of the No Filter Zone. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. If you've got any comments or thoughts, please do share them on social media. So hopefully I'll see you very soon in the 4th episode of the No Filter Zone. Please join us then.